our center, which is within our Center for Enterprise and Innovation at the Leicester Castle Business School. We have, a vibrant group of scholars from different parts of Africa, but with interest in Africa, not only those who are from Africa. And I can't speak well and highly enough of this vibrant group of colleagues who have been conducting a range of really exciting research on various issues across the continent. So we welcome you here today, where we'll be exploring a really, really important topic, as you have seen in the flyer, in the poster, which is about Africa, diaspora, engagement, and investment opportunities on the continent. And we have with us today my colleague, Dr. Frank Nyame-Asiamah, who has conducted a wide range of really interesting and exciting work on this topic. And he'll be sharing some of those with us today. And we also have here with us today our special guest, the Right Honorable Dr. Mohammed Awal, who is the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister for the Ministry of Tourism and Culture and the Arts in Ghana. It's especially pleasing to have with us here Dr. Awal. He has established a reputation before he got into government. He was an entrepreneur himself who set up a range of businesses in Ghana. He holds a doctorate in business administration with specialty in succession planning and business competitiveness from the Swiss Business School, and 3 other master's degrees in various disciplines from various universities. I'll be speaking more about him later on. But just to use the opportunity, before we go on, today we are going to be recording the session, but we are on speaker view, so it's only those who are speaking that their face will be showing. We just want to let you know about that. If you require any further clarification, you can contact our administrator today with Tracy and Amina. And if you, but we want to be able to share these thoughts and these discussions with the wider world out there. So once again, you're welcome. I know that we have here with us today various interest groups and scholars and practitioners and diasporas who are interested in hearing, the various thoughts and also contributing their thoughts and ideas. This really topical issue we'll be exploring today. I will be giving various information in the course of the day. But before I call on our director of the Center for Enterprise and Innovation, who has been such a big supporter and encourager of the work that we do, I just want to use the opportunity as well. Maybe later on in the session, Tracy can share that we have, coming up in a few months from now, we'll be launching our book, The Palgrave Handbook of African Entrepreneurship. It's a highly anticipated book that attracted a lot of interest, comprising 24 different chapters across really important thematic areas such as entrepreneurship environment, institutional environment, financing, entrepreneurship in turbulent zones, gender issues as well. Really, really important topical issues. And we'll be giving you further information about this so that you can be part of the official launch later. So thank you so much. I will now introduce our director, Professor David Dre, the director of the Center for Enterprise and Innovation at the Monftort University, for his opening remarks. David, are you there?
I'm here, yes. Thank you, Sean, for that kind introduction. And let me just say, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who has helped organize this event and to make it possible. And of course, a very special welcome to our guest speaker, Dr. Mohammed Awal, currently the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture in Ghana. but previously I think the Minister for Business as well. And I'd like to thank everyone for participating and maybe even giving up watching the football match. I hope this will be more entertaining. It should certainly be more constructive. It's almost exactly 3 years since we launched the Centre for Enterprise and Innovation at Montfort University. And whilst I'm gratified that we've achieved a lot since then, I still think that the smartest decision that we made was very soon after that to suggest setting up the African Entrepreneurship Cluster, which again has achieved so very much in over 2.5 years, including the landmark conference on African Entrepreneurship and Innovation in 2019, many other events and projects, and as Sean has mentioned, the imminent publication of the African Handbook of Entrepreneurship. And we are inspired by the people who have joined as colleagues, as students, as co-researchers, and internationally who work with us as partners. And turning to the theme of the event, the theme of the event is African diaspora engagement and investment opportunities in home countries. But we also have the sponsorship and the involvement of the Minister from the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture in Ghana. Now, I'm sure there will be learning points that expand beyond Ghana into the wider West African and African context. But even so, Ghana is a special place, a special country in so many ways. We have so many students and colleagues and dear friends from Ghana who live in Ghana or who have Ghanaian connections. And I know from them, it's no understatement to say that Ghana is the cultural powerhouse of West Africa in many ways, musically in terms of film, performing arts, visual arts, and other ways. And there are so many innovative performers and creators from Ghana. And I suppose there are many connections between those people making their livelihoods and careers and businesses worldwide and the development of diaspora connections back to Ghana and the continuing development of the Ghanaian cultural economy. And I think both of those aspects, I'm sure, will be explored. So I understand, I think, that my colleague, Dr. Frank Nyame-Asiamah is going to present first. I think that's right.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah,
that's fine. So without further ado, let me introduce Frank, who is, I know, has got a very interesting presentation from a very well-researched paper, which a few weeks ago, he actually presented to our Doctor of Business Administration group, who were extremely interested, not only at the paper, but also the quality of the scholarship and the methodology and the approach that the authors had used. So Frank, over to you.
Thank you very much, David, and thank you, Sean and colleagues. Also thank the Dr. Ibrahim Awal for joining us this afternoon, and all other colleagues who have shown interest and want to participate in this interesting discussion or forum. What we are looking at this afternoon, as you could see from my slide, is the African diaspora engagement and the investment opportunities in home countries. We know for economy to grow, we need the resources that we have to be able to mobilize all these resources and interact with other institutions that we have available for us to move things forward. And this research is something that I conducted with 3 colleagues, and you could see their names over there. Dr. Isaac Amwakon from Coventry, Professor from Swansea University. So I'll move on straight to share what we have today and look at the big question as to what is it that is motivating the African diaspora entrepreneurs to invest in their home countries. So if you can, good. Right. There is usually a challenge and a problem here. When we begin to have conversation and discussion with people, then they have a different view about immigrants. And once they know you are from different countries and settled in the UK or in the Western world, then their opinion about you changes altogether. That is the fact, and we know it, and a lot has been written about it. But there is interesting thing here that I would like to clarify. Research that has been conducted here, if you can see, indicates of the UK and then of that of the Germany were to be seized in somewhere in 1990. Then by 2014, the UK economy would have shrunk by 175 billion pounds, and that of the Germany also would have come down or reduced by 155 billion. So that is a very interesting figure. And also, if you look at the contribution that immigrants or migrants contribute to the world economy in terms of the global GDP, that is almost 10%. So that is also very huge. That tells us that the immigrants or migrants who live in different countries are doing a lot to support the economy or the global economy. But the question is, how many of us Africans are out there? They are living in different countries. We know that the total number in terms of percentages is about 14 of the world migration. And then among this, we have 90 million Africans are living in other countries, referring to those living outside African continent. Please move on to the next slide for me. Yeah, thank you. So the point here is, why do they migrate at all? There are a lot of conditions or hardship conditions, challenges that prompt people, force them or influence them and push them out of Africa to different countries. Of course, we know natural disasters sometimes because of the violation of their human rights or the political instabilities of the various countries that they live in. But what we can probably see very well in terms of the development in politics and democracy. So that is something that we have to take credit for, and also encourage those who are involved in such democratic processes. And also many travel in search of education or employment or joint families, and all this is about looking for better opportunities. But when the people move from Africa to other countries, they also do well, they work, they study, they engage in productive activities. And out of this, they have returns, and they'll be able to remit a lot of money back to sub-Saharan Africa. And I have to emphasize the fact that it's not only Africans who remit money to their home countries. We have other people in different countries who send money back to their countries, and also in the West African and then developing countries who also remit money back to their countries of origin. So the figures are very interesting. From 2016 up to 2018, we could see that there has been and this even increased to 42 billion in 2020, even in the midst of the COVID. And one of the countries probably which has suffered most in terms of this reduction is Nigeria, having about 27.7 reduction in the flow of remittances from the countries of residence to their country of origin, which is Nigeria. Yet, countries like Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Zambia in Africa have all experienced an increase in the flow of remittances in this current dispensation. That the issue of brain drain, and then we complain about it a lot in the past, now can be seen as brain gain, or even more, those living in Africa and other places have been working together and then making use of the knowledge that people have acquired from different places that they live. But it is not easy for diasporas or people from Africa living in a different part of the world to succeed and to make money and remit. There are a lot of challenges, and some of them it is really, really, really tough to progress because opportunities tend to be limited. Even though when you travel abroad, there are plenty of opportunities over there, but that is not straightforward. There are a lot of things that play out here. So, for instance, if me speaking here want to study and then work at the same time and look at those who live in Africa, the system or the culture is such that it will be easier for them, therefore, to get support from family members. Here is going to be you and you alone, or you and your partner working together and making things happen. And apart from all this, there are also discriminatory practices or institutional discrimination struggles that this ethnic minority group and Africans and diaspora usually face. And so that makes it very challenging for them, and you have to be very resilient to be able to survive in such environment. So we have experience with African diaspora entrepreneurs, and then we wanted to know more about what has inspired them for them to be successful in various businesses or enterprises that they engage in. My experience with them are two categories of entrepreneurs: those who are in social enterprise activities or business activities. And we have a chat with this group for about 2 years in order for us to understand the way they do business and how they've managed to succeed in various business that they do. So we have people doing business in healthcare, for instance. As I said, that's just a social enterprise engagement. And those who are more interested in for-profit businesses, but that is also in two categories: those providing services and those who are into tangible goods, such as sending or dealing with second-hand car parts and then exporting these commodities from the UK to other African countries, and also those engaging in logistics. So they deal with more tangible commodities. But my main interest here is to look at their motivation. Why are they engaging with home countries? So we've categorized this motivation into two aspects. One, which is travel from Africa to the Western world. And then we've experienced it. We know the plight, and then the behavior, and then the future of the young kids in Africa. And some of them struggle selling in the streets. So these people think that there is opportunity for them to do business and then do something to support them through the social enterprise model of business rather than just looking for profits. So there are many also in healthcare businesses and others just doing business and creating opportunity for friends, families, and others, or supporting the community in general. And it was very interesting to see the fact that people have that belief, yes, we come from Africa and we are very patriotic, so we want to go back and support. And of course, there are other groups who also are looking more African create opportunities for them to do business and grow their businesses. And others have also developed their knowledge in the UK, and there is glass ceiling in the formal sector. It makes it really difficult for them to be able to penetrate and develop themselves. So have to look at what is the best opportunity here. I cannot live in the UK anymore. I've got money, but I need to do a business. The opportunity for them to go to Africa. And of course, after or having studied in the UK or gain a lot of experience from the UK, then what they can bring to the African countries is their knowledge and then expertise. And there are many also remitting money to Africa, and therefore they need support through the consultancy services and also the money that they remit to various African countries. Giving this data and knowledge help us to develop a theory or a model which didn't exist before in so to introduce something to inform our understanding of how African entrepreneurship should be perceived or should be done. The first, if you look at the model here at the top, you can see challenges, which is C1, and this just echo what I've already said, that people from Africa feel that there are corrupt practices, they don't have enough funds to start their own businesses, there is weak institutional structures, and therefore these factors start pushing people from Africa. But if you are being pushed, where are you going? What we've noted is that there are opportunity elsewhere. So if you look at the bottom of this framework, you can see motivators M2. There are opportunities in the advanced countries simply because their institutions are very strong. Things are well organized. The work ethics is they send the money back to support their home countries. But that is not straightforward. As I said before, there are also challenges because even if you studied and then you completed your PhD, getting a job is not easy. And even when you're in the job market, it is also difficult for you to progress for some people, not everybody, but the reality is there is institutional discrimination, which we cannot discount that. So this thing has also been pushing people from where they live, and then they come and go back and do businesses. And they have motivators, one, which is attracting them because of human institutions over there and make it easier for them to do business. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So there is a paradox here. One, there is precarious environment in Africa. It puts people out of their native countries, but when they move to the West, then things are not very good. They have to then come back. Second, what we are also seeing here is in staying in the West, there are some institutional discrimination. I've said progress. It gives them opportunity to look at Africa. And there is family and kinship relations back home also help people to come and do business. At the same time, people tend to be dishonest, and then it makes it difficult for them to forge their business ahead. But all these things create opportunity for people to do business, or opportunity for the government to intervene through policies and laws. Okay, next one, please. Next one, please. Yeah. So what is the implication of this research that you've done in terms of the for practice, especially for those who are doing business and in diaspora, diasporas who are engaged in trading activities and other business as a model for them that people have been successful, they can also do it. But more importantly, implication for policy is what we are interested, especially when we want to communicate or bring our research to those who matters in terms of policy and or those who are in government. Then opportunity for them to also take insights from the research we've conducted and then strengthen policies that can help diaspora entrepreneurs living elsewhere to come home and do businesses. And possibly the last point I will say is, apart from tackling something around corruption to make things more attractive and then inject confidence in African entrepreneurship, one of the things that has happened and we know is that when the returnees want to come back, there should be some sort of talent initiatives and policies that can attract them. And this has been tested in countries like China and also in Portugal. They had a PhD talent pool that they utilized for some time, for about 40 years, and that helped more and more people to stay in the country. So institutionalizing diaspora enterprises or policies will make things easier and therefore can attract the diaspora entrepreneurs to come home. And I'm sure we are going to take this forward this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Frank. That is very, very interesting and insightful presentation there. Sure, there's a lot there packed in there that will come through in the Q&A section. I can see already some comments in the chat, so please keep those comments coming. Without taking too much time, we now go on to our special guest speaker of the day, and that is Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal. He was Ghana's Minister for Business Development, in which he made really outstanding contribution, being named the best performing minister and most outstanding minister in Ghana in 2018 and 2019, respectively. He holds a doctorate degree in business administration with specialty in succession planning and business competitiveness from the Swiss Business School, and 3 other master's degrees in various disciplines from different universities. He's a graduate of business schools at the University of Ghana Business School, and also did some studies in Harvard Business School and the Swiss Business School, and is highly committed to improving the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Ghana and beyond. He's also the former managing director of Gravity Communications Group Limited, Ghana's biggest media organization. He was also the managing director of Chase Petroleum, and he has founded several companies, including Marble Communications Group, the Founders Group of newspapers, HMW Printers, Marble Consultants, and Marble Developers. Without taking too much time, he is now the Minister for Tourism and Art and Culture in the Ghanaian government. So without taking too much time, please join in welcoming to our session today, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal. Over to you, Dr. Awal. You are muted at the moment. So is he on?
Is it network from my?
You now, Dr. Awal, we can hear you now.
Hello.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now. You are on.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, colleagues.
Good afternoon.
I want to start. I want to be a bit disruptive. I'm not too formal. So I want to start from my personal entrepreneurial journey and then government policy perspectives on entrepreneurship. Hope I'm allowed to do that. I'm permitted to take it from that angle.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, I was born into, my father had 29 wives. I was the third of 29 children, and my father died quite early, so I had to join my mother to sell firewood and charcoal. I just refused to be poor, and I refused not to go to school. So when I got to university, I had to do all sorts of jobs to survive. That is where my entrepreneurial journey started. Today, apart from being a minister, I have a couple of businesses that have employed over 220 workers across the country in different fields. That's how I started as an entrepreneur. But coming back to the issue, subject of discussion, let me start by saying that Africa doesn't need handouts. We don't need aid. We need trade and investment. In Africa, young people constitute over 64% of the population. They are below 30 years of age. For that matter, any entrepreneurial drive, any policy must target the young people. We have to build their capacity. We have to give them funding, mentor them, and ensure that they have jobs. That's the way Africa would go. That is why in our government, President Akufo-Addo's government, we have now policies to achieve youth entrepreneurship and youth creativity. And I want to, with your permission, just outline a few of the policies we've designed in the last couple of years to support young people in terms of jobs. Our major challenge in Africa is unemployment. Africa, let me repeat, needs trade and investment. We need partners to come and trade and invest, not handouts. It hasn't helped us since independence, to not help us in the future. One of the major initiatives that we have launched in Ghana is called the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NEP. National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. This program is a special purpose vehicle, provide capacity building and funding for young people at a very low interest rate. It's very important for us. In Ghana, 280,000 young people graduate from tertiary institutions every year. Only 2% are able to find jobs in the formal sector. The private sector is not well developed enough to absorb the people. So we embarked on what we call the NEP as an SPV to support young people with funding and with business advisory services. That project alone last year created over 100,000 jobs for young people. So again, to achieve entrepreneurial drive in Africa, we should need to target the young people with special initiatives. And for that matter, Ghana did the NET program. It's going on. Also, to achieve entrepreneurship drive, Ghana has focused on young people, on women. Women constitute 52% or so of the African population. And there's no way you can achieve any development entrepreneurship without looking at young women. We are doing gender lensing in Ghana, and there's a program called Pressure Empowerment for Young Entrepreneurs, where young women below the age of 40 are given funding, training, building their capacity, and mentoring to enable them to develop. When the women do the businesses and they grow, they're able to employ a lot of the young people. That's very important for us. So let me start it this way. I want to also cover many opportunities in Ghana, and I want you all to help us sell Africa. I want to just look at 5 key areas of investment that I'm sure our August audience are listening and maybe looking at. For starters, Ghana is about 31 million people. At the center of the world, the most peaceful nation in West Africa, and has the best airports in the West African sub-region. So connection to US and to Europe is between 6 hours to Europe and about 10 or 11 hours to the US. So this is an ideal situation, an ideal country for investment. Until the COVID struck, Ghana's GDP growth was averaging 7% per annum, one of the best in the world. Ghana GDP was one of the best, and was averaging 7% per annum because of the transformation policies that the president and the government had initiated. But coming back to our investment, in terms of investment opportunities in Ghana, the first one I want to mention is agriculture. Ghana has arable lands, 1.9 million hectares of potential irrigated land. Less than 10% of this land has been irrigated. So investors have opportunity to come and help us do irrigation. We have 1.9 million hectares of potential irrigated land. So irrigation is a key component of investment in this country. And I want to invite investors to come help us do irrigation and expand. But the potential to be the food basket of Africa. Number 2, we do mechanization. Only half of our farm inputs are available. We need an annual stock of 6,200 tractors and about 4,000 combine harvesters every year. Investors have the opportunity to invest in mechanization. For a program called Planting for Food and Jobs, under which we are subsidizing fertilizers 50% and then seeds. Again, supply of fertilizers and seeds is so an important investment opportunity for investors in the agricultural sector. Over the years, last year we spent about $5 billion importing rice, tomato paste, chicken, and frozen foods. We think that we need partnership in terms of investment in the agricultural sector. And the returns are there for all of us. The next level of investment opportunity that I want to share with you is in manufacturing. It's government policy to add value to our products. Because over the last 60 years, we export raw materials, cocoa beans, wood, etc. It hasn't helped us at all. For 60 years, we're getting very low value for our exports. That is why for government, we started to add value under a project called One District, One Factory. Ghana has 260 districts, there's administrative districts. And the plan of government is that each of the districts will have at least one factory. And that factory will take advantage of raw material base of that district, raw material endowment, process it, and then add value and sell. This we know, we are convinced that it will create a lot of jobs for our teaming young people. We've had over 100 of these districts having factories. There's about 160 of them more to do in terms of qualification. Let's look at cocoa, for instance. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire account for 65% of the global cocoa production. It's a $100 billion sector. But Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire do not get beyond $6 billion because we only export cocoa beans. We want to add value. So I'm encouraging investors to look at establishing factories to process cocoa so I can process cocoa and sell. $100 billion industry. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire account for 65% of it, yet we don't get beyond 6 billion cedis because we export raw beans. We need to add value through processing. Another area what government takes very highly serious in Ghana is education, and there are a lot of opportunities there. In the last 5 years, Ghana has a policy called Ghana Free Senior High Secondary School. Under this policy, 1.6 million people from poor backgrounds who could otherwise not get admission to secondary schools have got admission to SSS. We are convinced the best investment we can make is in the human resource of our people. So over the next few years, 3 to 4 years, we expect to have not less than 3 million young people from rural settings, poor backgrounds, not access to secondary education. If they give that, we can make sure that we have high quality education in terms of literacy levels. We also have opportunities in terms of technical and vocational institutions. We're not only teaching people to go out to be doctors, lawyers, and that. We also want to look at the technical and vocational aspects for the middle-level jobs. So there are opportunities in the education sector for investors. Over the last 15, 20 years, Ghana has been attractive. It's attracted a lot of students from neighboring countries. Nigeria, Togo, Benin, they come to study in Ghana. And we think that it's an opportunity to make Ghana education hub of West Africa. So again, there's opportunity to set up tertiary institutions, vocational institutions in Ghana to support and meet the demands of the West African sub-region, where a lot of students are coming in to study. And it's very important for investors to look at this as an opportunity. Again, we need partnerships, not handouts. Another area I want us to look at, tourism sector, where I'm the sector minister. We want to set up Ghana as a MICE country. Meetings, events, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. The world is going through MICE. We are very peaceful, as I said, the most peaceful nation in West Africa. We are very friendly. We have a deficit of 100,000 rooms in terms of hotels. As of now, we live about 50,000 rooms in all the hotels put together. So opportunity to be able to set up more 5-star, 4-star, 5-star hotels in the country. And again, the investment opportunities are big for those who want to invest in the country. Then we also have opportunities for amusement parks and water parks, etc. And then the hotel sector, we need catering, a modern catering hospitality school. We don't have that in West Africa. Again, we want Ghana to be the center of tourism. Opportunities are there for tourists, for investors who want to invest tourism for tourist sector. A grade 1 tourism facility that could teach people. As we're all aware, customer care is #1. We need such institution in Ghana. You can partner PPP arrangements, make sure that we have this for West Africa. Sorry. Let's go on. The other area I want to look at is real estate and housing. Ghana grows about 2.2% per annum in terms of population growth rate. Today, we have a deficit of 2 million housing projects. We need an annual growth of 1 million housing to cater for our people. As we stand now, we have a little over 2 million deficit. We are looking for technologies that can give us low housing projects. So the cost of housing can be affordable, not only to the middle, but also to the lower income brackets. So that's another area that we think that want to encourage investors, especially our diasporans. They are making money to come out to invest back home. And Africa is the home country, is the homeland of the blacks around the world. Ghana, being a very peaceful country, can also serve as a financial services hub of Africa, at least for West Africa. There are great opportunities in this country that can attract investors. We are 31 million people here, but there are 40 million mobile phones in Ghana. That means internet penetration is very high. And mobile money services are very good. Last year, we did over $10 billion in terms of mobile money transfers, an important sector for ICT. Our insurance industry is booming. We have a very dynamic stock exchange institution that can list and get the investors attractive to this country. As I indicated, Ghana needs, and for that matter, Africa, we need investment and we need trade. Handouts have not helped us since independence. Aid has made us so dependent on foreign things. It doesn't help us. We need partnership to invest. Ghana is hosting the Secretary of the Continental Free Trade Area, African Continental Free Trade Area. It has a whole population of 1.2 billion. An investment opportunity for $3.3 trillion per annum. This is about one of the biggest single markets you can find in the world. And we need investors who would come and add value to our products, help team up with Ghanaians and Africans, and help build the capacity of young people and women for inclusive growth. And then we have heard about diaspora. We take the diasporan constituency very serious. We have set up a diasporan office at the Office of the President. That shows how serious we think the diasporans are doing well for Ghana. last year, remittances from diasporans topped $3.6 billion. So therefore, diasporan community is very important for us. That's why the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has set up an office, a diaspora office or area that engages diasporans. And diaspora has come up with a diaspora engagement policy, which we can share. Is in the platform, but the policy is to help mainstream diasporan businesses and actions, and to come home regularly to say how they can invest and improve on the economy in their own backyard. So I want to thank you for the question to say that Ghana is ready for investment. Africa is ready for investment. But what Ghana needs now is trade and investment, not handouts. We need partners that can come and look at all the risks, help build the capacity of our people and create jobs for our teeming young people. That's the way forward for Africa and the next generation. And we think that your audience, your listeners are those we want to target, that they can be a source of investment for Ghana in addition to our diasporans. And together, all of us can push the African continent forward. Let's avoid the CNN effect. Africa is not all about chaos and doom. Yes, we have problems of insecurity somewhere, problems of corruption somewhere. We also have a lot of opportunities that the returns are far better than in Europe and America. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so very much indeed, Dr. Awal. That is a very, very interesting presentation. Thank you so much. A lot of information coming through there. And as you can see in the chat, a lot of comment already coming through from colleagues who are on the chat. And that is why we will now go into the Q&A. We give opportunity for some people to speak, but also Tracy will be helping and Amina to read some of the comments as well for those who are not speaking directly. One thing that caught the eye, as we were speaking, was this, where you said that Africa does not need aid. Africa needs trade. We need aid. We need trade, not aid. I think that is really, really, really important takeaway there. We don't need handouts. There's a continent of opportunity, and there's a lot that we can do there. I'm sure there are many questions. Are there any one there in the chat before we go on? Does anyone want to? If you want to speak, please raise your hand. Don't unmute yourself. By the way, let me just thank all the audience today for being exemplary. We've had no disruption. If you like to speak, you can just raise your hand, or you can post your comment in the chat. We are going to read out as many of them as possible. Okay, so I will begin. I can see there's Jessica. I will call you in a moment, but I will just begin first from the question from our colleague, Dr. Kasa Wodesenbeta, who is Deputy Director of the Center for Enterprise and Innovation. I will read his comments and then invite him to say one or two to just elaborate quickly on that. So to what extent, so this is a question for you, Dr. Awal. To what extent do you think the best practices of Ghana can be replicated in other African countries where there is hunger by external, where there's hunger for external resource extraction and not trade and investment as such? Okay, so in countries where there's a lot of energy about extraction, rent seeking, if you like, especially some resource-rich countries, whether rich in oil or minerals, and not really investment in trade or entrepreneurship. So, what would be your response to that? Kasa, do you want to quickly elaborate on that so that Dr. Awal can respond?
Thank you, Sean, and thank you also, Dr. Mohammed. It's very, very exciting, also insightful presentation. And so we are glad to have you here at our center. So my question is actually also because Africa is rich in resources, wherever south, north, central, whatever. So we are rich in resources. But the current and the existing evidence suggests that almost all resources are extracted, not processed. Yeah, as you said already rightly. So My thinking is, given that circumstance in Africa, how do the Ghanaian best practice, which means rather than exporting unprocessed raw material to make it added value, can be replicated in other African countries, like, for example, could be in Angola, could be in Nigeria, and other places as well. So that's one of kind of, I don't know if you just give your insight in terms of various factors which might influence this added value dimension of your best practice in Ghana.
Yeah, thanks so much. If I may just quickly add to that, Dr. Awal, I think recently also Ghana discovered oil, right? So, and Ghana was known before as the Gold Coast. So I think, part of the question Dr. Simbed is asking is, how is Ghana breaking free from this, tendency to rent seeking? You can make a lot of money from rent seeking, from resource rent. So what is the Ghana strategy to break free from that and go for entrepreneurship and trade instead? And what lesson can be learned from that for the rest of the continent? You are muted. You need to unmute yourself, Dr. Awal.
Thank you for the questions. I think there are two issues, leadership and democracy. I think that African leaders must show real leadership. They must prioritize the needs of their people and focus on areas that can create jobs and prosperity for their people. And in this case, the youth. Issues of young persons should be looked at. And the youth and civil society must demand accountability from their leaders. We shouldn't sit down, young people should not sit down and complain. They must demand accountability from their leaders. And African leaders must also prioritize the interests of their people. That's one area. Civil society should not sit idle. I think governance is shared responsibility between government and the people. Where government fails to account and take into the people, society and the young people must demand it. And also through various institutions like AU, African Union, and ECOWAS, African leaders must also impact. There must be peer pressure, peer influence from African leaders who are doing well, like Ghana, like Rwanda. Leaders who are doing well must also make an impact on their peers, so that we can focus on it and make sure that we take care of our people. Without youth-centered policies, without focusing on things that can bring prosperity, those countries will not make it. Ghana, for instance, we found oil in 2010 in commercial quantities by what we call the Heritage Fund. A percentage of the oil fund goes in there to look at long-term development strategy for young people. It's infrastructure, it's education, it's health and ICT. That is where our Heritage Fund is gone. So a percentage of the oil that we found goes in there every year, and Parliament gets report on this fund. That fund supports free SSS, supports infrastructure development, and supports ICT for young people. So let me start it again that leaders must focus their interests. Young people in society must demand accountability from their leaders. And African leaders must have peer pressure. Those who are doing well must make sure that our colleagues counterparts do that through bilateral and multilateral institutions. When there's pressure on African leaders who are not doing well, they will behave and sit up and focus on their people. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Awal, for that response there. While I ask if Frank has anything to add, Frank, while you're preparing to respond to that question, can we go quickly to Jessica? Can I ask all those who want to ask questions to just keep it within 60 seconds, please? Because we want to give opportunity to as many people as possible. Jessica, can you unmute yourself and ask a question?
Hi, yes, sure. Thank you so much for this incredible initiative to discuss this. And in the subject of best practices, I'm from DR Congo, and there's a lot of conflict there, unfortunately, and instability, poverty. I'm wondering, and I've started an engagement, a diaspora engagement platform, but I'm not getting interest. There's lack of interest among the diaspora through social media and so forth. So I guess one of my questions is, what is the best strategy to get engagement? I work in the nonprofit sector doing USAID contracting. So it's aid work, and I'm really trying to shift from that. So I'm just trying to see what is the best strategy to get people engaged. And also, how do you combat the mentality? A lot of us, unfortunately, this corruption trickles down to the people. And my family and I've tried different businesses back home, but people end up taking the money or, just not proceeding with it, So those are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Jessica. Frank, do you want to take the first response to that? I think there are questions about what is the strategy? What are the best strategies for diaspora engagement? And especially in the face of corruption, which is a reality, like Dr. Awal also mentioned, is a challenge. We don't need to pretend it's not a challenge, but we shouldn't shy away from opportunities because of that. So what would you reckon? How will you respond, Frank?
Thank you very much, Sean, and also Jessica and Casa for your question. First, if I take what Jessica is saying, what we possibly need to make sure that our policies for diaspora is very proactive and more explicit, and be able to reach out to so many people who want to know. So one way of doing this is making it visible in various websites, so people will know that what is actually happening now, what is going on in Africa, and therefore, if they want to make contact, they know who are they going to contact. So, for instance, if you are in education and then you want to go to Ghana, Nigeria, or any African country, and you have a group of 20, 50, 100, want to go at a certain time to support, we need a clear policy over there, which probably span across the whole year or long-term plan to contribute something. This is not going and they're probably asking for money from the government, but people who possibly want to go back to their home country for holiday, working at various institutions in the UK or elsewhere, can go and do something for 1 week, 2 weeks. They are supporting the development of Africa. They are giving something back to the development. And I think human development aspect and capacity development is really important. I want to just move this one or just feed it to the question that Casa also asked. One of the things maybe we need to look at here is entrepreneurial education, and then ensuring that our curriculum is becoming more and more practical. How can we do that? It gives people opportunity to use their own initiative and establish collaboration and links between even schools at primary school level and then various firms and businesses that we have in Africa, and give this case opportunity. There are places where this is happening and making progress. We want this to be rolled out, and at our curriculum stage to develop that entrepreneurial mindset. So they'll be able to do something, and not that we have to wait until we get to the universities before, or you even finish before start thinking about how can we create jobs for ourselves. But if this case have been given opportunity to do so, then I think that will go a long way to help and develop our economies and countries. So human resource development, capacity building, and then reforming our or strengthen our curriculum provision will be a way forward to improve the diaspora engagement and also Africa in general.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Frank. So, okay, we still have some questions. I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to take, some of these together. So the next 3 questions I will take together. So George, Dr. Msuya and Debo, I'll be coming to you shortly. But Dr. Awal, so what's the response to this comment from Jessica, especially the part about corruption? There's a lot of energy and motivation and interest, but if people want to bring their money to Ghana or to Nigeria or to Ethiopia or to Kenya, they are thinking, okay, I want to be sure that some corrupt collaborators or whatever it is will not just cut away my money. So what is Ghana doing in order to ensure that, you know, safeguards are in place, assurances are in place, and then what can other countries learn from that?
Yeah, thank you. I think with the corruption, it's important that we develop our institutions and then try to isolate a lot of not to encourage a lot of human contacts. If you develop the institutions, they work. If you go to the courts, they work. The investigative agencies work. When they work and people report, it will happen. In Ghana, we are putting a lot of premium on ICT to keep a distance, so that there's a minimal human contact for them to demand money from you. And then we must punish corrupt ones. When they are found, they should be punished and set as example for others to do. We have called the Freedom of Information Act in Ghana, that every individual can demand any institution, any public official to provide information on certain aspect of their work. There's Freedom of Information Act, which is operating in Ghana. So it's about the punishment regime, about use of ICT to have minimal human contact. And then the diasporan question that was asked. I think that diasporan affairs, diasporan issues is very important. Diasporan issues might be taken at the top level, either the presidency or the ministerial level, to give vents and significance to that institution. Diasporans account a lot for our development in Africa. We cannot joke with diasporan contributions. So I think the diasporan relations engagement must start from the top, presidency or ministerial level. That will help and encourage people to come and invest in their countries. These are the two areas that I think I can contribute.
Thank you very much for those very precise and concise responses. I especially like the part about technology. There are a lot of opportunities with technology, especially these new technologies, you know, blockchains as well as a whole range of things, so that, you know, people are interacting directly with what they're investing with, and you're reducing the possibilities of corruption to happen. Thanks for that. Can we now go very quickly to George? Again, please keep this within 60 seconds. So George, and then Dr. Musuya and Debo. 60 seconds each, please. George.
Thank you very much. Very engaging. In fact, I've got 3 projects that I'm looking at for Ghana in the education, rural education sector in terms of construction right now. And I think so. The short idea that I would say is using the diaspora people like ourselves across from higher education or school and entrepreneurs to actually engage and do work in Ghana or whichever African country you're engaged in providing internships and opportunities and advisory with these young people who are starting businesses, young or old, and bringing in those skill sets which, you know, advise them and put that together with the government in a dynamic way. And I think so that is important. So money is one part of it, but I think so the ideas and through this research that you have put through is to bring together that in a dynamic way, working with government with a very interesting policy that the minister has talked about, is bringing entrepreneurship and vocational education in reality. In fact, just 2 days later, I'm talking at the Vocational Education International East and West Africa function on vocational. I'll end there. We'll be in touch on the thing because I'm connected with Sean and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, thank you so much, George. Really important point there, really important point. And we need to take that forward. You shouldn't just be talking about it. We need to have concrete steps forward. Asmahan, very quickly, 60 seconds, if you can.
Yes, thank you everyone for your nice contribution, presentation, questions. I find it very interesting. It's part of my PhD and other research I've conducted in East Africa, Tanzania especially. I just want to make a contribution to what Dr. Awal has said about leadership and democracy. But apart from that, we also need the technology transfer, technology know-how and skills, because that is very important. And sadly, many research, including the figure, for example, that Frank has presented today, is mainly focused on the remittances and investment, which are more financial or material, but the social remittances that we refer, which is skills, is not being measured and is less research area. So I think that's the area that we need to put focus as intellectuals, but it's also the area that I think will able to bring a more added value to what we're doing back home. The last thing, I know it's a few seconds, we also need to contribute to and see the effect of South-South migration, because most research, sadly again, is looking the effect of diaspora who are moving from South to North. So those who are in the richer countries. But with diaspora, they make a lot of contribution who are just moving from South-South, from developing countries to developing countries. So that need to be included, I think, and the impact of it also need to be measured. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for those really important points, Asma. Debo?
Thank you.
Very quickly, so that we can allow our speakers to respond. Yes. Debo.
All right, thank you very much, Sean. And my question is for Honorable Dr. Awal. I remember he spoke about some strategic intervention that focused on youth and women towards to address the issue of unemployment mainly. And so the question is, what are the key lessons learned while executing these strategic interventions?
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that question, Debo. Okay, maybe I should just add one question also from Uriye, who cannot speak directly in the room. He said, I wonder if the diaspora networks are constructed around identifying African, that is the broader, Pan-African kind of identity, or whether, individual countries like Nigerian or Ghanaian, for example. So when we talk about diaspora networks, what is the locus? Is it, the Pan-African, canvas, or we are looking at, country specific, or yeah, maybe Frank will be able to speak to that. Do you want to start on that, Frank? Before we then get back to the minister. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Thank you very much. I think we know now that there are some organizations and groups, for instance, in Nigeria, trying to bring people together and then bring all these diasporas together to do something to support African countries. And also it is happening in different countries. And I think what we need is having that talent initiatives, making it more explicit in every single country in Africa. And then through that, we can begin to bring the various parts together, because if you have one big diaspora institutions for Africa, it may be difficult to manage. But once we have it at various countries, then gradually we can start doing something and then at some point merge that. But it doesn't also spoil anything if there is a group in Nigeria who want to do something in Ghana, or some people from Ghana want to do something, also fine. But something needs to be done clearly and explicitly at the country level.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Frank. I think it's quite an interesting question and conversation there, about, okay, so who is the diaspora? So if I want to invest in Ghana, so who am I, Dr. Awal? Am I a Ghanaian diaspora, or am I just an African diaspora? I mean, some people have also argued that, the country borders we have in the continent, they are colonial constructs, that we have to move beyond this and speak of the wider, Pan-African kind of identity. But then, like Frank has said, there are also management issues there. How do you manage? But yeah, so I wonder what you think, Dr. Awal.
Thank you. We're not only targeting Ghanaians. We're targeting Africans. We're targeting everybody. Once you have the mindsets, you have the skills, and you have the money, please come to Ghana and invest. The returns are good. That's why we have what we call beyond the return projects. We have beyond the return projects in tourism that we had between 400 years of slavery, and want to attach everybody who have been impacted, whether your 100 generation family was infected, come back to Ghana beyond the return and invest. But we also have what we call the Homeland Act, which we are going to pass very soon, to encourage all who have interest in coming back to Ghana or coming to Ghana to invest. You can come and settle, we'll give you land, we'll give you business. All that I do is to pay your taxes, expand the business, and employ people. The Homeland Act is coming to encourage people to come to Ghana to invest. But the challenges that we met in terms of the policy, the first questionnaire, the first person asked the question, challenges in terms of policy direction for young entrepreneurs, is a mindset issue. The mindset, a lot of people have been trained, educational system, to train to finish school and then work for governments. They see themselves as just seeking for jobs and not job creators and job owners. So to change the mindset of young people to be job owners and job creators instead of just being job seekers, the mindset. That is why I agree with my colleague who said that entrepreneurial education should be started from the primary school up to university. So before they graduate, they have a mindset of creating their own jobs and employing people instead of just being job seekers. There's only red tapeism. The system is so, sometimes people just put obstacles. Civil servants, obstacles. And some that could be done in a month, it has to be done in 6 months. It's not acceptable, we can't tolerate that. Then shared goals and shared values. Even among policy makers, implementers, we need to have an accepted strategy that all of us buy into that strategy to do it. At the end of the day, what we need to do is to unleash the entrepreneurial dynamism of our young people for national development. Everything that has to come must come together to unleash that dynamism for that. African youth, very smart, very ready. What they need is an environment, an ecosystem that help them unleash that dynamism to contribute to national development with jobs. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you so much again for very clear and precise answers there, Dr. Awal. There's a comment here, and there's a question there on the chat, which is about the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement from Kola Wole or Shinowo. It says, considering the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, how do you think AFTA can attract the African diaspora to invest in the continent? I know you've already responded to some of these in part before, in terms of attraction to investment, but this is specifically about the AFTA. Because you also mentioned earlier on really powerful quote that the Africa does not need aid, we need trade. So how do you see AFTA, which is now being hosted in Ghana? What role do you see? How can the African Continental Free Trade Agreement contribute to this wider conversation about African diaspora investment and engagement?
And thank you. The AFTA Secretariat is embarking on roadshows, soon to embark on roadshows around the world to meet the diasporans everywhere, to let them know the importance and the value of the AFTA. We need to go beyond the normal trade relationship we have with
Okay, it looks like we've lost Dr. Awal. Is that just me?
No, we've lost him.
Oh. Okay, we've lost him. Okay, you're back. You're back. We lost him for a moment. You're back now.
All right, thank you. I'm saying that the diasporan community over the years have acquired rich skills, knowledge and competence, and then some money. We think they can bring all these competences, the social capital and the network to bear on the production processes, the government institutions, and all the systems and mechanisms in Africa that they can help us to achieve the goals that we are going to embark on a roadmap. The African Secretariat is on a roadmap. Visit all countries that have a lot of diasporans to encourage them to come back home and support it. So diasporans, we need your competences, your skills, your network. Help us to improve the structure and systems in Africa to achieve the goals of AFTA. As I said, it's $3.3 trillion trade and investment per annum. Cannot let that go.
Yeah.
If you look at the trade and what handouts we get, it's not after that. We need sustainable development. that can only happen if you bring in your competence, your skills, leverage the raw material that we have. That helps us a lot. So we need your network, your capital, your skills. That's how.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it seems we've lost him again, but he's already made a point very, very, very strongly and very clearly. So thank you once again, Dr. Awal. I mean, it's a vast continent. It's a big, huge market, 1.2 billion people, and a lot of opportunities there, untapped opportunities. So I think, really exciting, challenging, but, even more exciting. Anything to add to that, Frank? As we now begin to round up the session for today, any additional comment from you, or should we just move on, Frank?
And I think one of the way that you also have to explore, we see that in Nigeria, for instance, Jumia has been doing very well. It's become African eBay or Amazon. And there's now the economy, the whole world economy is moving to digital labor economy. So we need to do very well in that area as well, rather than just using our phones and then internet to engage possibly a lot on Facebook. We can also do more with that to exploit business opportunities and move things forward. Thank you
for that. And I can see some questions are still coming through. Okay, we're going to round up in the next 5 minutes. We were planning to finish earlier than planned, but really great to see, it's really important conversation. And can I just say that, this is just the one of many such events we are going to be hosting in the coming months. So please look out for information about subsequent events. We have quite a lot of ideas that we're lining up, and we'll be communicating with you as time goes by. Right. So we also have here actually the head of department for Department of Management and Entrepreneurship. He's just made a comment on the chat. Dr. Demola Obembe. I wonder, do you want to speak to that in terms of your comments on the chat? Demola. Okay, so why we
not really. Thank you, Sean.
Oh,
I just feel that I was talking about the issue of need for a reorientation of leadership mindset in Africa. I mean, we've talked about how well Ghana is doing, and also the case of Rwanda. These countries they're making significant strides, and it's coming from the top.
Yeah.
But I feel that the issue of social justice needs to be really addressed. There's so many Africans in diaspora. For significant numbers of years, we've witnessed brain drain, as they call it. Folks, the mass exodus from the continent of the skills. And at some point, we need to start thinking about how, we reverse that. But in order for that to happen, yes, we've talked about infrastructure or development and all that needs to be in place. But I personally feel that there's this need for, changing the mindset and orientation of the leadership.
Absolutely. And you can't be more right on that. Leadership is important. You cannot overstate that, as the evidence shows across all these countries. And it's one of the things that Ghana is getting right at the moment. I think, I know Ghanaians are a bit more critical. They probably, say, their government can do much better. But, when you see what is happening across the continent, Ghana is sending the right kind of message across. I will just read a few more questions as we round up the session, and then invite David for any additional comments before we conclude the session. So some of the comments on the chat are just reflections and comments. Somebody has asked whether we're going to share the slides. Yes, we will try to share the slides. And Tracy, I'm sure you're taking note of that. To all the participants, we have your information, so we hope to share the slides with you. I can see also that we have in the chat one of our center directors in DMU for the Finance and Banking Research Center. Ibrahim, are you there? Do you have any comments? Okay.
Yeah, I am there.
All right. Yes.
Yeah,
So this is Professor Ibrahim. Again, you know.
Yeah.
One of the leading guys in the faculty, and himself also originally from Ghana, as you said. So, go ahead. What your comment?
That's right. That's right. Thank you very much, Sean. I just one suggestion for this. We talk about technology and technology transfer. That is very, very important. But the point is that since 1960s, 70s, and 80s, we've done a lot in terms of technology transfer. For example, if you go to China, when actually they engage a foreign company on a particular set of technology, they actually include a number of professors in their universities to actually learn that technology and transfer it at the university level. But if you go to Ghana, for example, we have a German company that was established in 1970. That is Neoplan. And that company has now collapsed almost because there were no technology transfer. Instead of bringing in professors and other things to actually learn and actually include that in their teaching of students in engineering and others, they didn't do that and other things. So this is something that actually I want Dr. Awal to actually take that into account, particularly technology transfer in Ghana by using our universities and those people with expertise to actually not only serve as consultants, but also learn from those people who are bringing in those technology. That will be a way forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Really, really important comment there. I can't say that enough. I was actually just speaking with somebody 2 days ago who mentioned, you know, he was leading a big bank, you know, intervention many years ago, said they were desperately looking for collaborators in the universities in Nigeria, and they couldn't find any. The capabilities were just, you know, not there. And I think what you mentioned there about ensuring that professors and instructors and universities are up to date with technology is really, really important. It's really important. The impact cannot be overstated because you have some universities that are teaching curriculum that are 30 years, you know, behind 30 years dated, quite frankly, and then they are then transferring those dated information to students who would then graduate and then go out to the market and they find, you know, they are in no man's land because their capabilities are just not there. So that is a really important point, Dr. Awal, and I'm sure you are taking note of those as well. As somebody who is positioned there, one of the vibrant ministers we have, you know, on the continent to start, you know, making and implementing these great ideas. I will just read a few more comments before calling on David for his final thoughts. So Mark Ojeme, okay, we have Dr. Kasa again. How do Ghana deal with women empowerment issues, their entrepreneurship? So that's a really big one. I'm not sure there are any easy or simple answers for that. Mark Ojeme, why is Africa still underdeveloped and struggling despite its vast resources? What should be the key drivers of change? This could well be a topic of, you know, multiple theses, Mark, but really important one as well. This is food for thought and for action there. Yes, Regina also with a comment about, you know, thanking the panelists for sharing their thoughts. And yes, and there's an information also shared there on the chat, which I think they will be speaking to a bit more about the roundtable event for the East Midlands Top 500. Which is happening in July, 1st of July between 2 and 3. I'm sure we get more on that from David later on. And yes, so, and then there's a question there from our colleague, Dr. Momodu Salah, who is the director of the Center for Academic Innovation in DMU and himself originally from the Gambia, doing a lot of great stuff in the Gambia. Any thought on decolonizing the economy? Do you want to add a few words to that to clarify? And then we then go to David for his final comments. Momodu. Okay.
Sean, I think it's answered. I think you've done a great job asking. I'm just throwing it out there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. Thanks so much, Momodu. Yes, that's another thought for us, food for thoughts to keep reflecting on, decolonizing the economy. Any final words before we take David's comment and then we round up the session? Frank, do you want any final words?
Yeah, I would say thanks to everyone who has joined us this afternoon and then engaged with us in this on this very interesting topic. What I would like to say as a final word is just appealing into the government in Africa using this platform to engage more actively, as I said before, with the diasporas, and especially in the education sector and also in the health sector. And then I know Honorable Awal has talked a lot about tourism, but all these things can develop and move further if we be able to strengthen our educational structures and then be able to develop the youth that you want to help them to gain knowledge and skills and then become very useful citizens. And education is the key here. And we need people from the experiences and knowledge. Dr. Ajanim said something, and then Sean, you took it over, or you added something to it about those who have been teaching some curriculum or some topic for quite a long time. Probably all of us would have been doing the same thing if we were stuck in that environment. That is what people know, but we need the system to be open enough. And once we have more open system and there's collaboration and interaction, then we can do things differently. We can see what others are doing that we are not doing, and then can make things happen. So the collaboration and then talent initiative, making it clear, explicit, inviting people, and then saying every month we want this to be happening, and then we measure it, we document it, we move things forward. So if I come there and you do it, we need to make sure that there's progress. We evaluated it, another group will come and continue. And then through that, it can bring progress in Africa. And I think that's what we need to do at the moment, making certain the structures and then inviting diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Frank. Thank you. Dr. Awal, your final words?
Let me thank you for the initiative. I think it's been very, very helpful. Those of us in policy would also appreciate the contributions of those in academia, civil society. We need those perspectives to transform Africa and pro upon a lot of our people. Africa must go beyond aid so that we can make sure that our young people have jobs, our women are brought up to where they need to be, and our continent will be progressive and dynamic. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so very much indeed, Dr. Awal. And like we have discussed, we continue to engage with you. This is not the end, this is very much the beginning of our interaction to see how we can move things forward, not only in Ghana, but in the continent. Professor David Dre, your final comment as we round up the session.
Sean, yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I've been delighted to hear the presentations. Thank you, Frank, for a great presentation. But thank you in particular, Dr. Awal, for really promoting Ghana as a wonderful destination for investment and for business. You're doing a great job, but you're also drawing attention to the need to invest in people as well as technologies and infrastructure. And I think we would agree on the value of an open economy, the value of educating young people and enabling them to develop their careers, to be open to entrepreneurship. And my view always is not only the best investment a society can make is in education, the best investment overall is in educating women and girls so that they can play their full part in society and become entrepreneurs or professionals or teachers or doctors or anything that they want to do. The return will always be there. So we've had a really good, a really enjoyable presentation. I did want to share the invitation to our East Midlands Top 500 Companies roundtable presentation on the 1st of July. That's gone out in the chat for two reasons. One is each year, we're now in our second year, two of our PhD students act as research assistants. They actually do the hard work of the analysis. And this year, Deji and Zainus have been doing those jobs. So come and find about their work. But the other reason, and this is just something that's happened in the last few hours, is that we have a roundtable panel. I'm one of the panelists. Now, unfortunately, one of our female panelists had a slight accident. She had to drop out, but we've been able to replace her with quite a remarkable now, Sarah's background is that her parents were in the Windrush generation. They actually came from the Caribbean to the UK. Sarah's a graduate of Nottingham Trent University, and she's worked in Next as a director, really around fashion, handbags, jewelry. That's her area of concern. She left Next, and she's become an entrepreneur. She's the founder of BuySarahChristie.com. So I think she's going to be a very interesting panelist. So if you have any interest at all, not only in East Midlands businesses, but particularly in fashion entrepreneurship, female entrepreneurship, and how do we go about decolonizing the economy, then come and listen to Sarah Christie at that roundtable on Thursday. We're always trying to promote the next event, the next thing that we're doing. So thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Tracy, for doing a great job of organizing. My voice is going, so I'm going to say goodbye and go and watch the football or whatever you'd want to do. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much once again, David, and really interesting event coming up. I really recommend participants to join in there. And thank you so much, Tracy. Tracy, can you show your face? Tracy has been, the one behind the scene putting all of this together. She is brilliant at this. Thank you very much indeed, Tracy. You want to say hello to everyone? Yes.
Just a quick one.